right, good morning. We're here today with Jacob Fuller and Paul Shabay and my good friend David Rasco. 4 of us around the table this time. There's a lot to talk about. So, guys, thanks so much for being here this morning. Jacob, I want to start with you. First, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you grew up and some of the background.
Yeah, well, one, let me say thank you guys very much for allowing us to come and just give a little bit of some of our experience and what we've been through. So we just want to say thank you to you guys and the Leadership Exchange. We love what you guys do.
Well,
so,
thank you. Appreciate that.
Man, my story is a little bit colorful in regards to the way I was raised, how I grew up, where I come from, and the fact that I'm just like every other kid that grew up in the Southern Bible Belt. I personally grew up in Keller, Texas. I grew up in a family that loved me, but was divorced, remarried on both sides. Yeah. And so I got to experience a little bit of that, but through God's grace, really had 4 amazing parents that loved me. I had the coolest English teacher ever in high school.
I've heard about that.
And he really poured into me through young life. Paul was just such a great asset to me through high school. But one of the things that I would say for me personally was the challenges that I had in just being a young boy, growing up, trying to prove myself in some form or fashion. Yeah. And so for me, I had this desire to be a SEAL at a really young age. I remember at the age of 9, I actually told my dad that I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. Wow. And he kind of gave me that look like, all right, son, let's start with making your bed and getting to school on time, And so we kind of had that moment where I said it for the first time out loud that I wanted to do it. And it never really changed. And so,
do you remember what was the impetus? Was it a movie? Did you see anything? Did you see an advertisement?
It's a great question. I think it's a little bit of the Rambo syndrome
in
there, but also my grandpa was in the Navy. Okay. And so I grew up hearing his stories and all the reckless times that he had in the Navy and all the fun he had. And so I think, and then also too, my dad really did a great job of taking me out into the outdoors, teaching me to hunt, teaching me to love the wilderness. And part of that was scuba diving. So I grew up in the water, around the water, on the water.
You were doing it before you were a Navy SEAL.
I was, So I was scuba certified at 10 and diving in the ocean. So
I don't think at age 9 I knew what a Navy SEAL was. No. That's pretty good, Jacob. Sure. At age 9 to know that.
Yeah. And Paul, what about you, man? I know LD Bell, big football star, played a little at TCU. So
yeah, I don't know about all that, but I grew up with great parents. I'll say that. My experience growing up with my father was every day after work he'd come for his baseball season. It was flies and skinners. For his football season, we were running our 5 little routes. Wow. And my brother and I, we were always competing against one another. Yeah. We'd go in at night and we'd get a little football. And he'd sit in the chair and we'd still run our screen, our hook, our fly, our post. And all I knew was my dad being involved in everything. And I knew my mom, as she never missed a thing and still doesn't with grandkids. Yeah. She's been the best mom, the best grandmother, now the best great grandmother. So it's been exceptional.
You guys are in the minority. I hope you know that. That's pretty rare for sure. To have that kind of situation. Not perfect, I know, but good, and that's fantastic. Yeah. So
can speak to Paul's dad for sure. So that's how you guys are here today. Paul's dad, PD Shabay, and we serve on a board together in Fort Worth, and about 6-8 months ago, he said, you need to reach out to Paul. He's fired up about this new role he's doing with the Arlos group. And he went in and told me a little bit about it and then met with you guys and the things you're doing. But I can attest and confirm to your dad, great guy.
Thank you so much.
That's he'll be here today and he's proud of you. I know.
Thank you.
Well, Jacob, specifically, I think both of you, probably all of us, but the world can break you, and then you kind of have to either rebuild differently or try to rebuild through the world. But tell us a little bit about that, Jacob, in terms of kind of the world breaking you down.
Yeah. We have a saying in the military. It's if you're going to be dumb, you better be hard. And I'm pretty hard-headed. Yeah. And so from that standpoint, one of the things that I really learned through my career was how much I really wanted to do it for me. I think sometimes we can paint a picture of, when I was going through buds, we'd be doing surf torture and instructors would be walking by and they'd be saying, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? And they keep asking that question to people. Yeah. And what was really interesting was any answer that wasn't authentic to your heart, you'd see those guys go away because it wasn't strong enough to keep you going. Right. The thing that if I'm being completely honest in how I made it through the training, I would tell you it was because of my insecurity. 100%. Yeah. It was how deeply rooted I needed to prove myself and find my value and my worth in the world. And so that just led me to just keep going. And I'd love to say that it was for freedom. I'd love to say that it was for honor. And I think there's obviously a thread of that in there for sure. But if I really gave the root where I feel like my heart was at that time, it was I wanted to be valuable to myself, not even to people around me, And so that really drove me to this point. But the problem is that as you guys know, you never find that fulfillment in anything other than Christ. Right. And so for me, I just kept pressing until here I am. I became a SEAL at 19. I'm overseas at war. And, we're doing our thing overseas, and I've never felt more lost, more lonely, more insecure in my entire life. And it was all based around the fact that I was searching to find my fulfillment in something other than Christ. Yeah. And then really what I felt like was going to be a trip to the desert for a physical war ended up becoming much more of a spiritual war for me. For you, yeah. And so that was my first breaking. Yeah. My second breaking was in business. Yeah. Yeah. And it was that same syndrome that once I got out, I didn't realize how deep rooted those insecurities can be. So I learned the lesson in the military, and I kind of pivoted. And as I exited the military, I'm going to do this different. Yeah. And then you get going, and you kind of just wake up one day and you're like, man, what am I doing? Yeah. Yeah. And so I kind of relived that twice. Yeah. And so now I'm really trying to stay committed to not doing that anymore. Yeah.
That you only had to learn it twice is pretty good though. I mean, I think I probably had taken more time to learn that.
Yeah. So,
and you haven't even seen, I don't know that you've seen our leadership model, but that's exactly what we talk about is, hey, what do you put at the center? All these other things are good, leading yourself, leading your family, leading your wife, leading your, in business, all those things, nothing wrong with a lot of those things. Great to be a Navy SEAL, great to be a business leader, but those things won't fulfill you. They're not going to, they can't be your identity. It's kind of what we talk about. So you're talking our language. So, cause we've had to learn that as well. And everybody needs to learn it, whether they learn it or not. Right. So
absolutely.
How about you, Paul, in terms of?
Well, I was going to use the term identity in my story. The first time that I really had to face any significant challenge was whenever I was told I couldn't play football anymore. Yeah. And I'd gone through my whole life. That was my identity. Yeah. And every single facet, it was just how I was known. It was what I thought I would do for the rest of my life. Even though that he became a Navy SEAL, I doubt I would have ever reached my pinnacle of what I thought, but it didn't stop me as a freshman in college from thinking that. Sure. And so that was the first true kick in the teeth where I had to go, man, identity is something that I struggled with. And I kind of spun out for a while. Yeah. But I spun out. When I spun out, it wasn't in my behavior. It was really just in searching, and in searching, that's when I really found my relationship with the Lord. Yeah. And that's when I started walking with him. And then obviously later on, you get kicked in the teeth many times. Yeah. And that identity is super important to be able to have that as foundation. Yeah.
So the brokenness obviously led to some change with both of you. Maybe talk a little bit more about that when you're broken, like Paul with your injury and some of the things, the spiritual warfare you were going through, Jacob. That experience, you end up suffering some maybe when that happens. So talk a little bit about that, how that led to change, and maybe your experience with some of the suffering as you're going through those trials.
Well, I think one of the things that's interesting is you kind of have the lead up to realizing, like having that moment when you realize what's going on. Because I think sometimes you can be super blind to what's even happening.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where brothers around you really become, just super valuable. For me personally, I got to the point, and this is where, when you look online and when you watch the movies, you don't understand the level of anxiety that guys that are operating at a very high level are dealing with.
Yeah.
And so whether it's a professional athlete, right, or whether it's somebody operating in the teams or what, a high level in the military,
looks like they got it all under control.
right, or in business.
Yeah.
And so I remember times in the teams where I would wake up and literally from the moment I woke up, it was just literally a moment of just a wave of anxiety would just rush over me. And since getting out, I've talked to several guys that said that same thing. And so I didn't realize that anybody else was even going through that. I just thought that was me.
Yeah.
But then in business, that transferred over into migraines.
Yeah.
And by 3 p.m. every day, I'm popping 6 to 8 ibuprofen, just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
And come to find out, a lot of guys are dealing with that same thing. They got their own physical, their bodies pushing back on the amount of stress and anxiety that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And so that was probably the first sign to me, was the physical side of what my body was telling me. The second side was my behavior to those people around me. Yeah. I started to become not myself and acting in different ways, whether that's conforming to the way people want me to act or whether that's lashing out in some form or fashion. And so what I didn't feel like was that I was actually just being me. Yeah. Right. And the way God made me and able to operate in my highest level in the way that he designed me to be. Yeah. And so those two things are two early signs for me now, the flags that I'm looking for when I know I'm not operating in my true identity.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. And now you guys you've been through that journey. Now you're leading a company, specifically Jacob, leading the Arlos group. You're wanting to create a different culture. You're wanting to kind of shepherd be somewhat a pastor to people, a spiritual, advisor to people. And so you're trying to create that culture. Tell us how that went early on, because that's why you guys are here. That's what we really want some of our business leaders to see, is that, hey, the workplace, man, it is so important. I'm going to make reference to this in just a moment, but tell us a little bit early on kind of how you were doing that.
Yeah, I think that there really were good intentions there and wanting to start and operate what I would call a Christian company, which is different than just being a normal company. Yeah. The struggle with that is the human, what I call the human factor. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You can build the best business plan you've ever, thought of, but then you put the human factor and it's like an equation that you can't figure out. Yeah. Right. And so for me, one of the things that I didn't realize was honestly how hard people are. Yeah. And I really underestimated that. I underestimated factors like work ethic. I underestimated value, what they value, like core values, right? I underestimated just same direction, right? And that we're all thinking in the same way. Yeah. And in reality, that's not the case, right? And you see that in every facet of life. Yeah. But I think for me, what I didn't understand was how broken I still was. Yeah. So you go into this and you think, well, I've got it. I'm good. Yeah. Right. I'll help you guys. Yeah. And in reality, what God revealed to me was just the level, the depth of how broken I really, truly was in those early years. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to make reference to something real quick because someone just handed me this magazine, 817 Biz, this morning, all about business, of course, new businesses in Tarrant County and so forth. The back page says suicide is the second leading cause of death for people under age 44. And then the next question is, where do we spend the majority of our time? Yeah. The workplace, with an exclamation point. So, I mean, what you're saying is, you underestimate people, but you also underestimated your own brokenness, but also brokenness of other people. There are people at work that are dealing with heavy, heavy loads, and they're trying to continue to perform at work. So with that, you kind of brought in Paul to help with that, right? Well, keep going on that.
Yeah, I first had to get over the God complex, what I call the God complex, which is where I'm going to come in, I'm going to save people, right? I'm going to let's go down to the root on everything all day long.
They're going to love working for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, I didn't realize how much I wanted people's approval. And so the Lord broke me of that and really helped me realize that I can't save people, only He can. Right. And once I realized that, I was able to take a big step back and really start letting Him lead the business. And so that did a few things. One, as soon as I really turned over that full control, and when I say full control, like I'm still working on that, right? Like let's be honest. But when I was really able to give Him as much as I could at that time, right? I saw some immediate things happen. One was the chaos within the business subsided by 98%. Wow. And it was crazy. It was an overnight change. Because when I'm trying to take control of everything and I'm not letting other people lead and so on and so forth, it just causes more chaos. So the first thing that happened was the chaos subsided immediately. The second thing that happened was I was able to start really allowing other leaders to step up and own their part. Right. And that was really, I didn't realize how hard that was. I mean, that's when you're starting something from scratch and you're putting everything you have into it and you're laying it all on the line, to release control is a big deal. Not just to the Lord, but also then to people. And so that was a huge help. But what was happening was I was still trying to manage a company while also caring and loving for people. And so the people that were suffering the most were my family. Right. And myself physically. And so I just started praying. I said, Lord, I need help. I can't do this on my own. This is yours. You're going to have to show me how you want me to do this, because I'm really struggling right now. And I was hurting bad. I mean, I was migraine every day. It was bad. And Paul called me one day and he said, hey man, I'm retired from teaching. I'm looking for an opportunity. And so I said, hey man, come on, I'll put you out. Arliss Group is a construction company. So I said, hey, I'll put you out on a job site, see if you like it, and you can tell me what you think. He came back, no joke. He comes back to me the next day and he said, Jake, I forgot to tell you, I wouldn't let you watch me put a shelf together. But he said, and I'm going to brag on him for a second, because this just showed his heart for the people. He said, I've got this idea for a chaplain role. And I'm not going to ask you to just give me the role. I'm going to ask you, will you allow me to come in and do the role for free for 3 months? And then you can decide if it's valuable enough.
Wow. That teacher pension, really good. I love that, man. That's awesome. Working for free.
So the thing that I would tell you is releasing control to the Lord of the business subsided the chaos, releasing control to other leaders and trusting people within the business, really started to see the business structure come into place. But when I was really able to trust the fact that the Lord could use other people other than me, right? When I could get out of the way, what I didn't realize was that the Lord was actually giving me my time with my family and my life back in a lot of ways, right? And so Paul coming in immediately, and what it immediately changed the whole dynamic, because it's one thing if I was to sit with you and I was to say, hey, what's going on in your life? And you tell me, well, I'm struggling financially. You know that I can write the check.
You're the boss.
Right. And so that's really hard to separate myself from that God complex where it's like, I can be your provider. Right. Well, sometimes people need a raise. Other times, and they deserve that raise. Other times people need to learn that lesson. Right. And the Lord is putting them through something, and I don't need to come save the day. I'm hurting them.
And all of a sudden that puts some animosity between you and your people.
So having that other layer where Paul came in and could immediately his whole role is just to love on the people. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I say it from a standpoint, it's like Jake has given me such an incredible opportunity to do that in so many creative ways. We have a devotional with the entire company every Monday morning. And then the first Monday of every month, we do praise and worship at the office.
Wow.
And we give a little talk. We ask questions. We pray for one another. If anybody needs prayer, we go and we have some people in that office, some men that are just incredible, men of faith. And we he has created, before I ever got there, a very family-like culture. And so I get to come in with the wheels already greased.
Right.
And so whatever, I don't exactly deserve as much credit as he'll give me, but that speaks to his humility. But it's been really cool. We have book studies, Bible studies on Thursdays during lunch. And then we've started, just like you guys with core, we've used much of that material in our own core class that's very similar to that, to guys that are seeking. And so we meet on Tuesday mornings at 6:30, and the two of us show up, and we have guys that are coming in. They just want to know more. And
You lead that? Do you lead
I
that?
do.
Or
I do, but he's co-leader.
Which is great. Yeah. Which is
So
perfect.
it's really neat.
How was Paul introduced? I know 3 months kind of worked kind of to see how it was going to play out.
No, he paid me.
But how was Paul introduced to the company, kind of in what role, and just talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, that's
how
a good
he was
question.
Brought on and engaged and loving on the employees as he's doing.
I think especially if you're trying to build a good culture, if you're trying to play that servant leadership role, you're trying to spend time with people, right? Because if you don't spend time with people, they don't feel that connection. Right. And so one of the first things that I did was basically apologize and just say, hey, I love you guys, but I can't be, it's too much.
Yeah.
I can't be everything for everybody. Yeah. And not that y'all are even asking me to, but I want to be, right? Mm-hmm. And so the first step of that was honestly just saying, here's my heart, but it's unachievable for me, right? And so introducing Paul and just saying, hey, this is honestly, this is a guy that loves you. And we set boundaries. Yeah. That was one of the things. Yeah. So basically what I've asked Paul is, Paul, tell me when it's something that I really need to know. Yeah. And if a guy has he's in a fight with his wife, I don't need to know that. Yeah. Right. I don't need to be involved in that. But if somebody is struggling physically, like they're on the verge of having a heart attack because so much is going on in their life that something has to give, right? Yeah. We want to be that organization that comes in and goes, how can we support you better, right? And so I've told him, I only get to know the stuff that I really need to know in order to take care of the people. And he's done such a good job of really being a good guardian of that. And so the first thing was the people have to know that they can trust Paul and that they can go and talk to him in a safe place. Yeah. I know we say that all the time. You hear that today in culture all the time. Yeah. But I think it is important because people don't feel like they have that. Yeah. A lot of people are struggling right now with community. COVID didn't help, obviously. People feeling isolated, like they don't have a place that they can go to and just talk. Yeah. And so it was interesting. He was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to even be able to fill like 15 hours. In the first month, it was like 30 hours worth of just meeting people. Yeah.
And how many employees? Give us a size.
We hover around 30 right now.
Okay. Not 300.
No, not 300. Yeah. And so you had, people coming back, every other day, every 3 days. And so now there's a rhythm where guys know when to come, they know how to come. And Paul's done such a great job of, it's not just, hey, come, let's go talk in the back room for 6 hours. Yeah. Like we have a job to do and they know that and he knows that. And so he does a great job of finding those right times when, hey, let's meet tomorrow morning. Hey, let's meet during lunch. Let's go grab a coffee. But he's aware of, how to take care of the people in a way that the business isn't hurting. Right. And I think that's such a beautiful gift back to the company.
Paul doesn't have construction-related responsibilities. He's not a manager. He's not doing their job performance.
Not putting together the shelves in the office.
Not doing that. No. That frees them up in some trust that, hey, I can open up and share with Paul.
Absolutely. He's not in their chain of command.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to ask in terms of Paul, how is this your position? I mean, if you were on staff at a church or you were in a parachurch organization, totally different, and people would interact with you differently. Tell me about kind of how the advantage of that in terms of kind of being on site and not being on staff at a church, so forth.
That's a great question.
Sure. The greatest, I feel this intense responsibility, but I don't have any pressure. Yeah. Jake has created a culture where they're they're truly, the pressure comes from whatever you place on yourself,
Right.
whatever I decide, the pressure is going to be because he's so supportive. And one thing that makes it so much better is he takes care of me very well,
Yeah.
so I can take care of others.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
an incredible servant leader
Yeah.
in that way. And what ended up happening was I chose not to be in, I'm part of Arlos management. I chose not to be in the front office, but be out with the people. And
Right.
every time somebody came, they'd move me out of my little cubby hole.
Yeah.
And I finally ended up where I ended up now. And I'm right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
And so I have so many guys that aren't on the schedule, but they just come by and they'll say, hey,
How
you got
doing?
30 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Hey,
Yeah.
you got this? Like, I could have a blank day for schedule and talk to 5 guys for an hour each.
Yeah. Take
Yeah.
it.
And
Yeah.
so just the availability
Sure.
and to walk with them every single day, to be at the lunchroom with them. I met with another guy the other day. It was a really good guy, and he does the same job for Eric Barr.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one of the 2 things that gets him fired is if his boss ever sees him eating lunch by himself.
Oh, wow.
And he was obviously joking, but there's really something that happens around just the fellowship
Yeah.
around a meal.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat.
Good.
You know, I think one of the things that's amazing about this is that not only does Paul get to help people with things outside of work, but it also allows people to process things within work, right? And so Paul understands the different dynamics of people and different personalities of people. And so one of the things that I think we really probably didn't see, which was just a huge value add to the company, was young guys, young girls, old girls, right? Like being able to process, like, is that fair of a manager to say that to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Or how did I respond in the right way in that meeting?
Yeah.
And Paul's like, man, I have no idea like the context of your meeting in regards to the construction and what you're talking about. But why are you struggling with the way that with the way that you responded? And it's like, well, I just felt like I was harsh.
Conflict management and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I think the people would say it has been so valuable to have somebody I can go to that isn't my boss.
Yeah.
And I can go, hey, how did I process this?
Yeah.
You know,
Paul may
I do
not
okay?
have the answers, but he's an ear and you're available and to listen for them to process through it.
Well, they know he's going to listen
Yeah.
and ask questions, and that's what he's phenomenal at, is asking questions. And then thirdly, when push comes to shove, he's going to point them to Jesus.
Yeah.
Whether they want to hear that or not.
Right.
Well, let me ask you a hard question here. All this touchy-feely stuff, how does it affect the bottom line? Because I'm bottom, right? I mean, some guys are going to go, hey, that's good, but how does that affect the bottom line? It sounds like it might. How's that?
He's allowing me to be a president of a company.
Yeah.
And so what I would tell you is, since he's come on board, we've put managers in place.
Yeah.
We are growing. We've honestly just seen favor from the Lord in receiving work.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we've restructured almost completely because I have the time to sit down and go, what's working, what's not working, what are these reports saying, and then go find those mentors to help me grow. Right. So I'm investing back in myself through people in the industry.
You got time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Time, as you really underestimate the value of time until you don't have enough.
Yeah.
You know?
But also taking care of your people. You know, what I've heard from other business leaders is when you take care of your people, they want to stay with you. I mean, you're not there's not the turnover rate. You're not having to bring new people in, all the time and effort and money that goes out the door every time someone leaves. And then you got to retrain somebody and all of that. There's a lot of money tied up in that, right?
Well, without naming names or anything like that, I recently had a guy within the organization come to me, and he's a stud. He's a well-seasoned industry guy that has a really impressive resume. And he got offered another job with probably about I think it's over a 50% increase in pay.
Yeah.
And so, my response when he told me that he got this offer was, man, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'd be blessed, man. I couldn't even touch that.
Yeah.
Right. And his response to me was, Jake, you got nothing to worry about.
Wow.
He goes, I believe in what we're doing.
Man, that's awesome.
And so when you get that type of response from somebody,
Validates
it makes
what
you.
you're
So
doing.
he's staying with you,
He is.
man.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
amazing.
And there's a
incredible.
lot of factors in that.
Sure.
But I think one of the things that through this kind of experiment that we've been doing that I've realized is I think people really underestimate how hungry.
Yeah.
I think leaders are underestimating how hungry people are for a purpose that's beyond money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Great point.
if you go out in the marketplace right now and talk to people, they're exhausted with the rat race.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've moved for money 2 or 3 times or whatever, and they're not satisfied in their current role.
That's
How
right.
many months have you been in the role, Paul? Is it
9 months.
9 months. So
Yes.
anything just kind of changed and evolved from
Oh.
how you envisioned it to where you are now?
So
or-
much. We were changing weekly at a time. I mean, we had no idea what we
Right.
were doing. We were experimenting, and I feel like we've caught a rhythm, and we're still in the experimental phase. And this is a young position,
Yeah.
and my whole thing is I trust Jake so much that every change that has occurred, it's water off a duck's back. I trust where he's going. He's an entrepreneur. I've learned very quickly that he's going to have one idea this day and another idea the next day.
Yeah.
And if I just listen long enough and let the dust settle, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, my wife says, "Hey, when you get serious about that, let me know." Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much for being with us today, and I hope you'll join us at one of our Leader Exchange luncheons, second Thursday of every month, 4 in the spring, 4 in the fall. Thanks so much. We'll look forward to seeing you.